Hey guys, I'm going to be talking about the issues Outlands have, and it's not to criticize anything. I think Outlands is one of the best MMORPGs out there, if not the best. In my personal opinion, it is the best. But of course, it has issues, and some of these issues can become overwhelming very fast. And some issues actually arise from some methods being extremely advantageous to other methods. So in this one, I'm going to be talking about the issues dungeon farming has, and I'm going to actually compare it to wilderness farming, and I'm going to try to reason, or I'm going to try to find out why wilderness farming is extremely better compared to dungeons. So let's start with the carrying gold. Probably, as you already know, the level of mobs increased with Wildlands expansion in the new dungeons, and actually pre-expansion we get Aegis Keep 4, which also has more mobs density and stronger mobs. So these mobs usually drop between 2000 to 5000 gold. And with the strong bugs enabled, if you don't know, strong bugs is a customization option that increases the gold you carry, or in other words, it decreases the weight of the gold. So if you have both of the strong boxes enabled, you are able to carry about 35,000 gold and some items. So if you are killing mobs that are giving like 3 to 4,000 gold, assuming that you don't kill anything on the way, you can only kill 10 to 15 mobs and then you are done. Actually, if you go to the level 4 of the dungeons, you will see that many people are leaving the gold behind. I am too, because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Uh, you just go there, spend 5 10 minutes, and you are done, and going back and forth takes another 10 minutes. However, in the wilderness mobs are also dropping as much gold. So whenever you get full, you press the button, go back to your house or inn or bank, whatever, you drop the gold and the items, and you go back to farming. So there is no time loss in between. So I think the strong boxes need some bump, because in this case it doesn't make sense. The wilderness farming is just too good. So you can actually understand it from the current rankings. If you go to the server rankings, you'll see that the majority of the players there, I'm talking about the top players, are either team uppers, which is actually considered wilderness as well, actually, which is also another issue because it's unfairly good too, but I'm going to talk about it in another video, or they are farming wilderness, pretty much exclusively Papua or Terrence Lockout. So you can see Darken OG, the Perfect Being, and other farmers that are exclusively farming wilderness, because the gold per hour is not comparable to anything else. Let's talk about the competition in the dungeons. So the dungeons, the majority of the congestion is in level threes and level fours, because pretty much level one and level two is not used anyway. The majority of the players are directly going to level threes or the level fours. It actually arises two problems. First of all, it causes congestions, which is obvious. And if you're a new player trying to grind level 1 of the dungeon, it is still on the way of the PKs for most dungeons. So you just, when they come for killing the other players, they kill you on the way. I mean, some of them let you slide by, but majority of them just kills all blues anyway. And if there is a society there, it's even worse. Like, I don't even step in dungeons where there is a 150k or 75k K society quest. It doesn't make even sense. It's incredibly overwhelmed. Like, I always try to find empty dungeons, and even they are not empty. Before we go to the PKs and thieves, I'm just going to talk about a little bit of the redliners, because redliners just kill. By redliners, I'm talking about people who completed 30 links and grinding red line points, which enable you to do other stuff, additional links or increasing your caps, whatever. But those people, including me, we just kill anything and we kill them very fast. And it creates an even worse situation for players who are just trying to take their time or in the midst of their journeys. Because, I got into a dungeon. You can watch my previous videos. We literally tear through all of the level trees. And I'm just sometimes thinking, if I was just starting out, I would just hate it because you are trying to kill a mob. It's taking maybe like 30 seconds a minute, and there's this guy coming, finishing the dungeon, killing all the response in like 5 minutes. So it only takes a couple redliners to dominate the level 3 of a dungeon, and everyone else just has to find some scraps they can kill and get some experience. And they're lucky if the redliners aren't also killing their mobs. I'm not. Sometimes I do, to be honest. If it's crowded, I just kill anything and everything. So I don't always personally respect the rules of engagement. I just sometimes kill anything. It is what it is because otherwise I'm just losing too much time. And dungeon farming is already so bad compared to wilderness farming. So let's go to PKs and thieves. So in wilderness there is barely any thieves. First of all, there are some PKs who are exclusively killing players overworld, but there is only so many of them. And as soon as you see them, you can just recall. And like majority of the time when they try to gank me, I just press on my macro button, and it takes me to the next farming spot. Like, let me compare it this way. I was farming ages today. I played like 75, 80 minutes. I got ganked 5 to 6 times. And I only could manage to survive one time. I assume that I'm a very bad player, and I'm not really good actually. And you are a super good player, and you maybe saved yourself 2 or 3 times. So you still died like 4 or 5 times. And there were like packs of PKs, like 4 or 5 PKs, like sending corpors on your way. It is almost impossible to survive. And like in the wilderness, I die this much maybe in 2 weeks. There are like sometimes 4 days, 5 days periods of time I don't even die even once. And another good thing about wilderness is if a madness core drops, for instance, or something expensive drops, I can just recall and bring it to my bank. And then I go back to farming without losing any time. In the dungeon, I hate actually, so having a good drop is nice, right? But I hate it when it happens at the beginning of the dungeon. Because then I have to stress about carrying to loot with myself, and majority of the time it gets stolen, or I get killed by the PKs anyway. So if something drops at the beginning of the run, I just have to go back and run back again. It becomes very lucrative farming the dungeons. So if I see Jester or any of the known thieves, I just give them the loot. I don't even bother because there is no point of doing it. They steal it anyway. I mean, okay, you can do lock boxes, trapped pouches, whatever, trapped boxes, so they don't mess with you. Yeah, you can do them, but still, if you save yourself from the thieves, then you have to deal with the PKs. But pretty much, except the late North American time zone, it's extremely crowded and raided so much by the PKs. And about the PKs, some people like the situation, some people don't. I actually don't complain about dying. Like, it's a part of the game, and I enjoy it. But the part that I don't like is how unfairly good team mapping and wilderness farming is, and how it contains so much less risk compared to dungeon farming. There should be a balance. Otherwise, there's no point of farming in the dungeons, and for so many people, it means that if they are somewhat competitive, it leaves the enjoyment of farming dungeons out. It just kills it. I think the situation can be improved. Like Outlands has done so much. Owen has like great concepts of the game. Lucius has, or Expo has, they have great concepts of the game, and they have come up with amazing solutions in the past. I hope they solve these issues too.